Okay, time for some more upgrades. Um, this happened earlier this week. It was just a little bit here and there through the evenings. Came home, pulled the bumper off the CJ. One night, actually, the first night I pulled the little air deflectors here, and that was actually, I would say, the hardest part of the entire job was getting those air deflectors off. Screws in places that were hard to reach. Just all around, that was a pain in the butt. And then Tuesday or Wednesday, I think, I came home. Probably Wednesday, I think, came home, pulled this bumper off the CJ, pulled the stock bumper off here, swapped this one on. Still have to get the fog lights in it, but it looks a lot better on here. Let me see if I can get lighting a little better. Looks a lot better on here than it did on the CJ, huh? So, this morning, you may be able to tell, I've got it jacked up. So I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, so here's the plan. There are much better lift kits out there. That was not our intent. Long term, Jen and I would like to do, there's a company now that is just starting to test out for the Gladiator air suspension, not just airbag kit, but full air suspension. Flip a switch, drop it down, flip a switch, raise it up. It has 8 inches of travel, which is good for, Jen's got short legs. As it is, getting into and out of this truck is going to be difficult for her at this height. This is 1.5 inches, and as far as spring kits, we weren't finding much in a decent price range for something that's temporary. Keeping that in mind, this is temporary because of our long-term plans, so I don't want to spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on a really nice suspension kit that's just going to come off in a couple of years. So this is a temporary way to get the vehicle a little higher, gain a little more clearance, get 35s underneath of her. We did find some 35s used. Hopefully they'll be on the wheels soon, because this is probably going to look a little ridiculous once it's up this high on 33s, but I'm not sure. We'll see how it turns out. So what I've got here is the front is the Daystar 1.5 inch leveling kit. We got spring spacers, shock spacers, and hardware. And then Fat Bob's is a company out of Utah, has a rear leveling kit, but the kit comes with brake line extensions, brake mount extensions, essentially. So once we're all done, I'm going to have to take and flex test the thing so that I can make sure that no brake lines are going to get ripped off out on a trail or something. But this kit is, these brake line extensions were actually made for originally the JK. Fat Bob's has tested it. It works for the JT, the Gladiator, as well. So they sent them with it. So that's basically what we're doing. I will get to the kit here. So I'm not going to do a full install video, just some clips and then an after shot. So this will be a little bit different today. Just wanted to keep you guys updated on what's going on. First side is in, so there is the top spacer. It replaces the factory spacer. And then you've got a shock mount spacer down here. So far it seems fairly decent for the price. I'm gonna switch to the other side, and then once I drop it down, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, here it is with the Daystar front leveling kit on only. And I would say that makes it fairly level. Now this is a Sport, but I've got the Rubicon springs and shocks on. So the Daystar, if you're looking for level at about 1.75 inches, I would say that does a pretty good job of it. So I'm going to start working on jacking up the rear, and I don't like the level thing because with this departure angle, I want as much clearance as possible going off the rear. So, plus being that we go overlanding, Jeep camping, whatever you want to call it, we load the back down pretty heavy and it would sag. So I actually want that truck stance in the rear. I'm not looking for leveling. Okay, so there she is. It is still sitting higher in the rear than the front because I did add the Fat Bobs to the rear. I did not use the brake line extension because, as I mentioned before, it was made for the JK, except it said it was part of the JT kit. but I couldn't figure out, because the way this is assembled, if I were to extend that down, it's a hard line that goes up over the frame. So without actually extending the brake lines, I can't figure out what the purpose of that thing is. So I did not extend the brake lines, but I did full droop with these shocks, because this did not have a shock extension. Full droop, it did not seem to be stretching the brake lines too far. I will end up getting it on a forklift and doing a full flex test and double checking everything front and rear, but from what I could tell, everything looked good. Now, being that it didn't have the shock extension, I did lose some motion of travel. Probably lost a little bit of up travel in that the springs won't compress as easily, but did not gain any in down travel. So there's that. But it was like $100 for this kit for the rear. So I got the extra height I need to clear 35s, and to get this rear end up off the ground a little more for clearance. And same for the front. Now, the one thing I would say, I am going to put a link in the description to our original video when we threw the Rubicon springs and shocks on, because that video pretty well explained this entire installation process. The one thing that's different on this one is I did have to drop the track bar out on the axle side on the front as well. In the previous video, I only had to do it on the rear. This time I had to do it on the front. Everything else was virtually the same, except basically I was adding a spacer on the top of the spring on both. And so I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with the kit. Pretty happy, well, the kits, because it was two separate kits. I'm pretty happy with the front bumper. This is a JK front bumper, so you'll notice it sits really close to the grill here. There is about 1/8 of an inch clearance, whereas the frame horns on the JK were a little bit longer than the Gladiator. So they do make a kit to extend that out a little bit if you wanted to use a JK bumper. We kind of like this because, one, it was free. It came with the CJ. Two, it is, you're not going to see it on any other Gladiator that I know of, because it wasn't that common in the JK Wrangler, and it is discontinued. I actually think these plates are on upside down, because the pictures on the Smittybilt site have that that delta there up the other way around. So I might mess around with that sometime, but probably not. We might have to do the frame horns if we want to put a winch in here, because as I said, it is really tight to the grill. We will see. So other than that, thanks for watching, y'all. This weekend, actually tomorrow, we're taking it over to Greg's house. If you remember the video from Greg that helped me weld up the TJ body. Taking this over there, having a 4th of July party, some wheeling in his backyard, watching the fireworks across the road. So maybe there will be some video from that. Maybe I'll throw it on this video. We'll see. You know what? I think I'll just close the video out here. Nice, peaceful, relaxing dog. Air conditioning. Fans blowing. Thanks for watching, y'all. I know this was a different video than normal, not very detailed, and just kind of talking. But thanks for watching. The Lord bless you and keep you. We'll see you tomorrow.